Katerina, and my talk today is just a compliment after all. So, as we said, I'm a software engineer at this dot. I'm also a Google developer expert for Angular and web technologies. I'm the founder of Angular Athens, the Angular meetup in Athens in Greece. I help the community, I'm a mentor, I love cats, chocolates, and also I go to a lot of conferences. At the last large conference I was at in January, a person walked up to me and asked me, "Are you this speaker's girlfriend?" I laughed on the inside because I thought it's just the most typical mistake somebody can make. Assume that a woman is accompanying her techie boyfriend, husband, whatever. I said no, he apologized, he clearly felt very bad about it. I joked, I said, okay, I won't report you, but it's okay. He was a nice person, he felt bad. Innocent enough, right? However, back in December 2018, I had another experience. I was at a conference, and I gave a talk, and after I finished talking, I checked my Twitter to see the usual impact of my talk, like the direct messages, the retweets, the photos. I also checked my direct messages, as I said, and I had received a message that said, "You're too pretty to do the talk, I can't focus on Lighthouse." Lighthouse was the topic of my talk. So today, what we're going to talk about is compliments. So I'm not going to be sharing fancy statistics about pay gaps and these things. I might do this in another talk. I'm going to focus on what is appropriate and what is not in the workplace. And while men can experience and do experience microaggressions in their workplace, it's something in the way that women experience microaggressions that helps highlight the need to understand them better. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to share some examples with you to help illustrate that. So back to that Twitter message in December. "You're too pretty to do the talk. I can't focus on the topic." Just a compliment, right? Well, in settings where my appearance is not relevant to the setting, it's quite problematic to focus on something like that. If that was a beauty contest, then my appearance would be much more relevant. Back in the earlier stages of my career, when I would receive a compliment like that, somebody focusing on something irrelevant to my actual work, I would feel insecure. I would think that, is this person implying that I'm not good enough, my work is not good enough, and they're just focusing on the woman that is on stage? Are they implying that the very fact that I'm there is impressive, so they might just as well focus on instead of my actual work? Now that I'm more experienced and I've been in the sector for longer, I know that these comments are not reflective of my actual work. So what I instead think is that maybe I should take my brains elsewhere, since I may not be welcome here. Let me be more clear about what I'm saying here. When someone focuses on my appearance, what I want to say actually is that this person focuses on my appearance just illustrates to me that they are not accustomed to the presence of women in a workplace. It just shows their lack of professional experience and not enough exposure to a working environment where women are present. I can, of course, take compliments, and I won't react badly if you ever compliment me. And for example, I will show you some other examples of compliments I received on that day, and I reacted with the normal excitement that you get when somebody receives a compliment. For example, a Twitter message said, "Full house on my talk." Or, "My talk is great, it works on so many levels, I teach and work to keep the audience engaged with my work. And my content is good, I obviously know my stuff, my presentation style is effective." So there is no way that somebody cannot focus on the work, right? And also there is a full house on my talk, for example. Of course, it's not only compliments I can take constructive feedback as well and comments. For example, one of the most valuable comments that and feedback somebody gave to me on that specific day was, you should maybe record your demos so that you don't get stuck on slow internet and just wait there impatiently. Or you could take that specific thing on your slides and make it a bit clearer so that people understand. What I mean to say is that in a professional setting, where the focus should be on work, we should just be mindful when complimenting someone on their looks. Because someone's appearance has nothing to do with the reason why they're there. For example, you have come to this conference, you have paid a ton of money to be here, you have paid a ton of money and time to listen to experts like us speakers and meet other people to connect and really learn new things. So you just spoil the very reason you're here if you're not focusing on the content or connecting with people to talk about the content. Of course, friends and work friends can give compliments. And we know that such compliments will come from a positive intent because trust has been built already in relationships that exist. Unfortunately, there is also a category of compliments that come from negative intent. And these are called the backhanded or covert compliments. When this happens, the impression you leave is that you want to slight someone, or to covertly tell someone that their job is just not good enough, or that as a woman, the very fact that you're here is so impressive, so there's nothing else to compliment you on. Saying you're too pretty to be here is just as backhanded as saying, whoa, for a gig, you're too fun. And I'm sure some of us have heard that compliments as well. If you're sitting there wondering why I'm so concerned about receiving that misplaced compliment back in December, please let me remind you that this is not the only thing that I have heard in all these years that I'm in this sector. I have heard and experienced some bold things in my workplaces that were not even regarded as problematic in their settings by anyone else involved but me. I want to share a few personal examples with you in the hopes that it will create some empathy within the audience. So I usually am the only female group in a male of developers. So in my first job, no one ever asked me anything. All questions would go right around me. No matter how close I were to the person asking the question, no matter how difficult and filled with challenges and dragons the road to that other colleague was, I would just be invisible. Also, I was the only person writing JavaScript, right? The main topic of conversation was how JavaScript is like the worst language ever, how everybody hates JavaScript, how it's not developers that write JavaScript. I don't know if you've heard it from people who don't write JavaScript, but I think it's a very common joke. So yeah, it wasn't directed to me, but still, it offended me in some way, right? Also, I was the only person running Ubuntu. The others had more sophisticated Linux distributions. Ubuntu was for housewives. Yeah. These things went totally unnoticed, as most such things go. But I believe that such things, looking down on the woman colleague, not taking her seriously, will create an environment where bad behavior is accepted and tolerated. When we're not mindful of the environment we are creating, and yes, even compliments that are backhanded like the ones I shared before, can create a hostile environment. As an example, in that same job, I also had a stalker who I ended up threatening with the police. I'm not saying that the disrespectful comments and jokes led to that stalker stalking me. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that little by little disrespectful behavior here, little jokes there, will aggregate together and can potentially create an environment where even worse behaviors are accepted. In a study by the Australian government on violence against women, they say that not, okay, let me get this right. Not all disrespectful behavior towards women leads to violence, but all violence against women starts with a little bit of disrespectful behavior. So we should keep that in mind. I'm not saying that I'm there yet. I'm likely far away from there, but just be mindful, the environment we collectively create together really matters. Another example of a covert compliment is isolating someone and making them the exception. In one of my other jobs, again, I was the only woman in a group of male developers, and I was treated more nicely, but I had this colleague who would say, Katerina, you're the exception. Usually women are better in the household, they're good in household chores. I'm not saying that what you're doing is bad, I'm not saying that your work is not good, I'm just saying that women more naturally belong in the household. I recognize that he believed he was voicing a common belief, saying that I'm an exception, but the rest of the women would thrive in the household, is just saying that women do not biologically belong in the tech sector, right? That it's a man's job. So he would say, you're an exception, you're super good at computers and stuff. Generally, women biologically do better in household things. Again, I want to believe in his good intentions. I want to believe that he wanted to say that, wow, you're an exception, you're too good for a woman. But again, he could choose to compliment me in some other way, like some other of my colleagues did, like, Katerina, you did a good job in this front-end task that you had, or I liked your documentation there. Just be more specific and not just, wow, you're good for a woman. I also had some mansplainers in my jobs. I don't know if you know the definition of mansplain. Let's see it. It's a verb of a man to explain something to someone, typically a woman, in a manner regarded as condescending or patronizing. So another mansplainer at that job told me, well, it's no coincidence that all great scientists are men. Well, right? We get that a lot, and we're thinking inside us, don't mention Marie Curie as an anti-example, you know? So there goes history down the drain, right? Because even though things are good for women now, we still have to deal with pay gaps, discriminatory hiring, and what he was saying is that, and again, we also have to deal with such colleagues that tell us that women thrive in the household, with the exception of Marie Curie and I, apparently. In a tech community I am part of in Athens, a person told that feminism belongs in the 60s, there's no inequality today, there's nothing to complain about, everything is fine, and whoever thinks the opposite is just blinkered. Funnily enough, in a very recent research in 2018 by the Cognitive Development Lab of the University of Illinois, the researchers found evidence of consistent bias against women and girls in contexts that emphasize intellectual ability. In other words, it's a man's job. I promised I will not show pay gaps, okay? So, we all know that we have to work equally hard to prove our value, get promoted, get a pay rise, gain respect from our coworkers and those above us. But sometimes a woman has first to prove herself that she's worthy of her seat in that office next to you. Look, you're going to work with more women and more minorities in tech. It's a fact. The world is becoming more and more diverse. I share these stories with you in the hopes that we can learn how to deal with these situations and how to act more normally and in a way that is more inclusive. So right now, I happen to work at a company where there are more women and women in leadership, no less. I'm not saying that things are perfect just because of that, but luckily, I can just focus on my Youre tickets and not have to worry about if I get any inappropriate looks, inappropriate or disrespectful comments, or disrespectful jokes about my womanhood. Of course, we still have to work hard on having we still have to work hard to make sure that we're okay with each other, and I'm sure we all still have unconscious biases. Sorry, I have my notes here. But the most important thing is that it's all about exposure. So men that are working in this company are more exposed to more women in their workplace. And this helps them feel that it's more normal. Remember back in the beginning I talked about how such inappropriate comments show a lack of exposure and experience with working with women. Working with more women makes things more natural, and actually you don't have to actually try and do something else. Another study showed that long-term, by the Department of Psychology, University of Massachusetts, showed that long-term effect of social environments on automatic gender stereotyping was mediated by the frequency of exposure to women leaders. So it's backed up by research, right? So the company I work for is this dot, as you know. So it's 48% females, 61% underrepresented ethnic groups. It's such a new experience for me, and I guess it's such a new experience for men who work there too, because in the US, 25%, most companies have 25% women in tech groups. So still, the rate is a lot different. Another type of compliments is a blanket compliment, which I'm not saying is bad, I'm just saying that it's not constructive. So what is a blanket compliment? A blanket compliment is telling something that is not very specific, so it's not very helpful. When do we tend to use blanket compliments? We tend to use blanket compliments when we want to make someone feel accepted, but we don't know exactly the way to treat them and actually tell them what was good about what they did. You're doing great can sound like hang in there. What we can do is let's just all be a bit more constructive. Let's add a specific commentary on our actual work. Constructive comments like, great job on that presentation, great job on explaining that thing specifically, or feedback and comments can really show care and respect, which is the thing you want to express when you're giving a comment or a compliment in any case. When giving a compliment, us women are usually assumed to respond with just a smile and a nod. Oh, he said just a compliment, just take it, it's okay, you know. Well, now you know why I believe this behavior is a bit problematic, and why this needs to be changed so that we create better environments and more inclusive environments for all people. And I also want to say, let's compliment some more, because complimenting people will create a virtuous circle of positive communication that will benefit all and make people feel more welcome. Remember back in slide 14, I'm sure you didn't count the slides, but it was in the beginning where I talked about insecurity and whether I feel welcome. Well, the reason I'm here today is that the Angular community has actually helped me feel confident and accepted by giving constructive comments, constructive feedback, constructive compliments, and creating a whole family of acceptance. So please, next time you think of complimenting a woman in a professional setting, try to think of a compliment relevant to the situation and first of all build trust. Because that woman, just like you, has worked really hard to be here. That's it.